I don't think wrestling will be ever as big as it was in the late 90s, but um, it will definitely, for the wrestling fans, generate a lot of momentum towards AEW if that does happen. And it couldn't be better times for AEW at that point because now they're about to launch Rampage. So they're going to have basically 4 shows, 2 on YouTube and 2 on TNT. So we'll see how it happens. But it has to be done right. And I think that is going to be a big factor to see how well this blows over, is whether or not they do it right, whether or not they do the reveal correctly, book them correctly, and Punk be able to do everything he could possibly can. And Daniel Bryan.
Yeah, I am. Because I know Punk is going to go by CM Punk. He has gone by that his entire wrestling career.
Oh, yeah, we're probably going to see Daniel Bryan as Bryan Danielson.
I was just about to say that. I can already tell that Daniel Bryan's not going to be Daniel Bryan. He ought to be Bryan Danielson or whatever name he's gone by before.
I laughed at the possibility his name would be Daniel Bryanson. But, yeah, it is what it is. We'll see how it goes. I know you don't pay attention to independent wrestling, but somebody won a major world title that came from WWE that never won a world title.
Matt Cardona, Zack
Right?
Ryder.
Matt Cardona.
Cardona.
He beat Nick Cage in a death match. Dude was bloody as hell.
I saw it today.
Did you see his post-match interview?
No.
He cussed a lot. That would be new to you for Zack Ryder.
Yeah, because I'm always know the woo woo woo.
And one of the things I saw was just like, what if he comes back to WWE and he has like a Drew McIntyre thing where he actually gets a world title at WWE? I don't think I have it, but can you imagine? I'm like, if he comes back to WWE, the Rough Rider finisher needs to be changed to the budget cut.
That's funny.
I would love it. I think it's called Radio Silence right now.
Yeah, I'm happy he's got a world title somewhere because he obviously wasn't getting any of those in WWE.
So, again, you don't watch wrestling. You might want to watch Dynamite on Wednesday. Nick Gage, who does, again, death matches, is going to have a hardcore match against Chris Jericho.
Is Jericho just trying to kill himself before he actually retires?
It's called the Labors of Jericho. Jericho has to go through like several different things to actually face MJF again. I forgot what his first match was, but the first match was kind of rough. But the second match is Nick Gage in a hardcore match, and he's calling himself the Paymaker again, which is what he was in New Japan. If they don't book this, one of the best things I've heard is that people are pitching the idea that the last Labor of Jericho will be Chris Jericho against Sammy Guevara. So we'll see. Because MJF is a dick. What else do you think? Well, and honestly, if I'm MJF in character, that would be a great one. The fact had the final one be Iron Man match against Sammy Guevara or a hardcore match. Honestly, I think it would have to be something where they forcibly have to hurt each other, like a first blood match or something.
Yeah, until you see the finger poke of doom again.
That's the thing. If they actually do that, the Labors of Jericho, I think you're gonna have a hesitant match, and then it just becomes all out war. But depending on when Daniel Bryan or CM Punk is due to make his appearance with AEW, and whether or not the Labors of Jericho are done, also another thing that would be good for the TV is have CM Punk be one of the Labors of Jericho.
I was just about to say that it wouldn't be bad to have like Punk be one of them.
But yeah, that's part of the whole gimmick is he has to go through all these different matches to actually get his match again with MJF. So we'll see what they actually do. But yeah, Nick Gage is the next one for Wednesday, I believe. So, oh yeah, that's right. The first one was against Shawn Spears, where Shawn Spears could use a chair, but Jericho couldn't.
Oh, of course, because he's the chairman. So I know Punk is returning, and this is kind of a question I've been thinking about ever since I saw that. Do you think AJ is gonna go within the AEW?
No.
Yeah, I kind of that come out. I was just curious as to what you thought.
If this was maybe 5 years ago, maybe, but AJ has expressed he's perfectly happy in WWE.
No, not Styles. AJ Lee.
Oh, Lee.
I didn't say Lee. Which AJ I was talking about.
You didn't specify. I thought you meant Styles.
Oh no, AJ Lee, his wife.
I think AJ Lee is done with wrestling.
Yeah.
She might be a valet or like a manager, but that's about it. Which honestly, that would be very weird to see them on TV together again.
Yeah, because there's a whole love square going on
between Punk, Bryan, and AJ Lee, and now they're both showing up to AEW. Showing up to AEW.
Yeah, that'd be kind of funny.
I honestly like. It would have been awesome if Zelina Vega went with Aleister to AEW.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of Zelina.
Oh, I just thought something else you missed from this past week on Dynamite.
Are you talking about Chavo?
Yeah, Chavo Guerrero is now Andrade's manager.
Yeah, I saw that. I'm like, that's actually not bad.
No.
Because I've always somewhat been a fan of Chavo. I've always preferred Eddie. But I'm not taking anything away from Chavo. He was good.
I think Chavo is better as a manager than he is as a wrestler.
Yeah.
I will say this is one thing I get really fucking tired of. Anytime someone from WWE shows up on AEW, they're like, "Oh, it's WCW 2.0." Where the fuck do you expect people to work when WWE cuts them?
Yeah, because
because they did it with TNA.
Yeah.
They probably wouldn't do it with ROH, but whatever. But they did it with TNA, and now they're doing AEW. Be happy these guys are still on TV, and some of which let their contract lapse and decided that they weren't happy where they were. And one of the best comparisons I've heard is like, if I work for Walmart and I'm unhappy or they let me go and I go work at Target, you're not going to call me a sellout. You're not going to call Target Walmart 2.0. You're just going to say, oh, cool, you got another job. We can start treating wrestlers like normal people. It doesn't have to be a brand war. People do have preferences between the two shows. I lean more towards AEW, and I own that because I know I prefer it. It boils down to I came up with the WCW, and the reason I came up with WCW is because at the time WCW was more child friendly, and my mom was not okay with me watching Attitude Era WWF in the early '90s. She just wasn't, and I remember I was probably about 12 trying to convince my mom to let me watch WWF because I wanted to see Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock because everyone was talking about it. She turns to it. They're mud wrestling. She says, nope, absolutely not, and puts on TBS. No, TNT. So I came up in WCW. I was a fan of Sting. I was a fan of DDP. I did like the NWO, but I was more of a Wolfpack because that's when I came in. It was a Wolfpack. I was a fan of Raven. I liked Jericho before he left WCW and went to WWF. Dean Malenko, Eddie Guerrero with the LWO, all that shit. I know I lean more towards the Southern style, which is what AEW employs. It's very close to the WCW style. I know I'm not a big fan of the WWF style, and that just comes from I hate squash matches. I really, really do. And WWF employs them a lot, especially for their big guys. The only time I saw a squash match and I was okay with it was actually there's two people that pulled them off that I was okay with, Goldberg and Brock, because they were believable. Goldberg was believable because he moved quickly honestly, he was a former football player. He moved quickly. He was very aggressive. Brock's just a fucking monster. So, they're more believable. Other ones, they're not really believable. Braun Strowman squash matches weren't really believable. Bobby Lashley's kind of, but he doesn't have the same agility that Goldberg had. And I think that's where it differs. But the wars don't need to happen. You can enjoy whatever you enjoy. I will say WWE's best stuff are on NXT, SmackDown. Personal preference. AEW, I do like Dynamite, but I'm not one of those where I think they're infallible. There's things that they do that I don't like. Cody Rhodes being heavily involved in a lot of things I don't like about AEW.
You really don't, buddy.
I don't like Cody's character as it stands currently. And what I don't like about Cody's character is because he does this thing, and it baffles me as a wrestling fan because I could suspend belief to a certain extent. But if you act like a heel in a match, you're the heel. End of story. If you employ heel tactics, you're a heel. You can't employ heel tactics like raking the eye or scraping the back and then cut a promo that's saying you're all American and you're blue babyface. You have to choose a side. Tweeners only work when they don't seem like they're trying. Kevin Owens is a tweener that works. CM Punk is a tweener that works because they seem like they're being themselves. Cody Rhodes seems like he's trying to be a babyface while also employing the heel tactics. And that's what annoys me most about Cody. Cody's a pretty damn good wrestler. He showed that in New Japan. He showed that in Ring of Honor. He showed WCPW, I think it was Defiant at that point, or whatever it was called at that point. But prior to AEW, he's definitely shown that he's a pretty damn good wrestler. There's another thing that annoyed me about Cody. When Luke Harper came to AEW as Brody Lee, he murdered Cody and won the TNT title. Cody had no chance against him. Cody goes away for a couple weeks, comes back, beats Luke Harper, Brody Lee almost with no any issue whatsoever. Rewind. Lance Archer. Lance Archer was a monster when he came in. I kind of feel like they kind of ruined Lance Archer at this point. They had to rebuild him. But he came in as a monster. Cody Rhodes beats him in the first pay-per-view match with almost no issue. Lance Archer should have beat Cody. Cody should not have beat Brody Lee as easy as he did when he came back. Yes, Cody did drop the title to Darby Allin and make it worth value at that point. And he did put on a hell of good matches to try and elevate Scorpio Sky. But Cody does not need the TNT title. Cody at this point, I don't want to call it a nostalgia run or anything like that, but Cody should be really just trying to elevate people and take his losses as they come. If he wants to beat some people from Dark, that's fine. But Scorpio Sky should be able to beat Cody. Lance Archer should be able to beat Cody. If any of these guys that are coming from WWE or wherever they're coming from joining AEW face Cody, they should beat Cody. But Cody, when he finally does a nostalgia run in a couple of years, then he can start winning more matches and being a world title. Right now, Cody should be focusing on elevating other people, staying out of the title picture, and taking more losses in the story. That's my issue with Cody. I actually liked him at Stardust. I thought he was a great performer character-wise with Stardust. I liked him as the paper bag guy that he was in, I think it was Dashing Cody Rhodes. I thought that was good character work.
When he was got his nose broken by Ray Ray.
Then actually going from Dashing to that was good. That was good work. I will give credit where credit's due when it comes to Cody. I just really don't like this version of Cody because it kind of gives a feeling of early 2000 Triple H. Well, 2006-ish Triple H, where he was just winning matches because he wanted to win matches. I give Triple H a lot of credit for NXT, but Triple H has to be out off TV for that to happen. And I think Cody doesn't necessarily have to be off TV, but Cody should be making sure that he makes people look like $1 million. That's my issue with Cody.
Yeah.
The people, here's the other thing. I've heard people criticize the Young Bucks for what they're doing right now, like that they just wanted to have the titles. I want the titles. From